Yo, are you one of those people who like scrolling through real estate listings, maybe watching shows where people find their dream homes? Have you ever thought about turning that into a job? Nah, for real, like seriously getting paid for your passion. Well, as a real estate broker, you can have a flexible work schedule. That means you can make money on the real estate stuff, but then use your scrolling time for other things you love. And if you're like, Jacoby, that sounds cool and all, but where do I even start? I got you. Learn how you can get started this summer by visiting realtorsrealestateschool.com/begin. Today on CityCast Chicago, everybody's favorite Emmy award-winning TV show, The Bear, is back. But surprisingly, there's still other stuff to do this weekend besides binging season 3. We've got things to do indoors, outdoors, and everything in between. Here to talk about it is contributor Greta Johnsen. It's Thursday, June 27th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. Morning, Greta. How you feeling?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Jacoby?
I am doing good. Y'all, before we get started today, I need y'all to know I kind of got a little beef with Greta. It has not been long standing. It has only existed for the last 30 seconds. Greta is in front of us when it comes to watching House of the Dragon. Let me put it like that. I got beef, y'all, because Greta is further along in the House of the Dragon season than I am. But let's not spend this entire time talking about TV. We got a lot of TV shows and books to talk about today. Let's look forward to this weekend. Is there anything on your list that you're excited for? You doing anything fun this weekend?
So, Jacoby, I went to the dentist yesterday. I'm pretty good about my 6-month checkups. Okay. But I found out I have a stress fracture in my back molar, which apparently is more and more common. My dentist was saying since the pandemic, everybody's just putting their little stress in their little teeth. So I need a surprise crown on Friday, and I'm super disgruntled about it. So I canceled all my plans this weekend. I'm not doing anything. I want to stay in bed and just feel bad for myself.
I hear that. I went to my dentist's office last week for my annual checkup, and she was like, we got some work to do. You need a crown, you got a couple cavities we need to deal with, and you got 3 wisdom teeth, sir, that we need to get moving on. And so I also had a crown appointment this week.
My gosh.
At least with those other appointments in my future, it hasn't felt as bad. And so maybe use that as some perspective. Hopefully that's the worst thing you have to do in the next couple of months.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a root canal, so knock on wood.
Yes, of which I've had 2.
Oof. Oh, Jacoby, my friend. That's intense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it'd be tough out here. It'd be tough, but when you eat as many Laffy Taffies as I have in my lifetime, as many gummy worms, you know what's coming. In fact, right now on my desk, I have an open bag of gummy candy.
It's
Jacoby. Literally with their arms reaching me, and it's eggs and bacon. It's eggs. So I had breakfast yet? I'm not gonna answer that, but I have had eggs and bacon gummies in front of me. Okay. Is there anything that you've already canceled that might pull you outside this weekend? I have some things that might convince you to get outside.
Okay, I'm excited to hear those. I think weather permitting, I was looking forward to doing some kayaking in Skokie Lagoons, which I recently learned are not in Skokie, but are delightful. But I don't think, it looks like it might rain on Saturday. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I am seeing some rain in our forecast. But, I'm always down for a little bit of kayaking. So Skokie, Pingtown Park, if you're trying to get out there this summer, hit my line.
Okay.
One thing that I have seen a lot of people getting excited for the last few weeks is the Sundance Institute Chicago weekend, which not only includes some great premieres across the city from the Logan Center for the Arts down at the University of Chicago, and then the Davis Theater is also hosting some premieres. One I'm really excited for is Luther Never Too Much. It's a documentary about the life, the health complications, the Grammy Award-winning career of Luther Vandross, one of those voices that, at least for me, that was Saturday morning cleanup music. That was always in my mother's playlist. Some Luther Vandross in the morning, and so that's one that I'm really excited for. You also going to hear from people like Dionne Warwick, Mariah Carey, Roberta Flack. And so that's what I'm excited for, playing June 28th at the Logan Center for the Arts, June 29th at the Davis Theater, and then also June 30th back at the Logan Center for the Arts. I sent you the link. Any of these premieres look good to you? You got Sugarcane, A Different Man, and Your Monster.
I thought A Different Man looked really cool. So this is like a magical realist film about an actor who like gets a medical procedure to change his face, but then he ends up really regretting it. I just, all that stuff, I feel like there will be a lot of interesting themes coming up with something like that. And it actually reminds me of a book I recently read that comes out later this summer called Hum by Helen Phillips. And she gets this surgery to change her face so that like the cameras can't recognize her face because there's so much AI out there, which is also like a very interesting concept.
It feels like another twist on the, sort of sell your soul to the devil trope.
Yes.
And like, was it worth it in the end? But I love that they're just like, hey, this man get real pretty and now he got to deal with some consequences. In addition to keeping you, inside, protected from the rain, by watching one of these amazing shows, they're also going to have some great panel discussions. One of my dreams that I don't talk about a lot is one day sort of helping make my own short film. And it looks like one of the panels is a short film masterclass, which is available on Saturday and Sunday. Another thing that's happening in Bronzeville this weekend is the 3rd annual Ida B. Wells Festival. And that looks like they're going to have a mix of things from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., starting off with some walking tours through the neighborhood. They'll have a few different options if folks are interested, with the first starting around 8 a.m. Then they'll have one at 9:30, 10. But then if you want to get out there around 11:30, they'll have Zumba outside of the Ida B. Wells Monument. As well as a panel discussion featuring Angela Ford, Mickey Kendall, and Ariane Nettles talking about filtering fact from fiction in a media soundbite world. So we got a full arts weekend for people, whether they're trying to see some new films, get out and hear some panelists, but then also keep up with all of the great street festivals that are happening in and around Chicago. The Logan Square Art Festival is kicking off this weekend up in Logan Square, and I know that's one that our listeners were really excited for. So Greta, have I convinced you maybe to leave the house for a little bit?
Maybe.
That's a hard no. That is the knowest maybe I've ever heard. You were like, they streaming some of that. Is any of that going to be available to watch from home? Maybe not.
Yeah, I think the couch is going to be calling. I mean, the other thing, so I started this newsletter, on Substack called Gretagram, and I decided in honor of this whole Crown debacle situation to just do the whole newsletter this week about dips as meals. So I think I'm just going to like lean into the soft foods and make some weird dips.
Hey, I already got my chicken noodle soup lined up.
Yeah, see, there you go.
We're on the same page. Y'all, I'm still trying to decide who I'm going to see at Ravinia this summer. In case y'all don't know, let me put you on. Ravinia is North America's longest running outdoor music festival, and they offer over 100 concerts from June to September. And seriously, there is something for everybody. What you like? Classical music? They got you. Musical theater? Got you. Pop, folk, hip-hop, R&B, oldies, contemporary, dance, even movies, you will find a concert for you. Me personally, I'm down to 2 choices and I need y'all help. It's either gonna be The Roots on Saturday, August 24th or TLC and Shaggy on Saturday, August 31st. You know what, I'm probably gonna see both. Any excuse to pack myself a little picnic and enjoy Ravinia's lawn. I can even ride the Metro up there for free with my ticket. So pick your show and buy your tickets now, only at ravinia.org.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, CEO of CityCast. Or, as I can say now, thanks to a few weeks with Babbel, hola, soy David Plotz, el jefe de CityCast. What if in 2024 you got a little bit better every day? When you're learning a new language with Babbel, that's exactly what you're doing. And if Babbel can help me start speaking a new language in just 3 weeks, imagine what you could do in a full year. I got started with Babbel because I realized that my girlfriend, who's a native Spanish speaker, and my son, who's in AP Spanish, were conspiring against me, or I thought they were conspiring against me in Spanish. I wanted to know what they were talking about. And now, thanks to literally just a few weeks of Babbel, I'm starting to be able to eavesdrop. It is rare that something so fun and simple, and Babbel is super fun and very simple, is also so useful. So here's a special limited time deal for CityCast listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
So, since both of us are likely to be on the couch, at least for a good part of this weekend, let's talk about The Bear. They dropped all 10 episodes last night. You and I haven't seen it just yet, but it's definitely going to feature in our Crown recovery. So what's the storyline you're most looking forward to picking back up on?
You know, it's such a good question. I think what I love about, so I have to say first, I liked season 1 of The Bear. I loved season 2 of The Bear. I thought the show has grown.
I think that's the perfect way of saying it.
I think like season 1, it was, I mean, not to say that season 2 didn't also have a lot of trauma in it, but season 1 was so much more yelling. I feel like season 2 came in with a lot of tenderness. And I loved that we got so many more little vignettes of all the different characters. I thought season 2 took me to a lot of places that I wasn't expecting to go. And I think that more than anything is what I'm really looking forward to with season 3 is like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And I think that's really exciting. What about you?
Yep. No, I think that's a great point. Season 1, I feel like when it came out, we were all having a good amount of conversations around what in Chicago are they getting right?
Yes.
Are they getting wrong?
Yes.
I think it was overwhelming. I think I left season 1 being like, man, should that season finale have been, or that penultimate episode been the opening episode? Like, could I have been grounded a little bit more? And I think season 2 did a great job of sort of pulling back on the gas of trying to be like a show that gets all of the Chicagoisms right.
Yes.
Right. You know, for example, Sydney's day around Chicago was like, Shorty, how did you even do that? How did you make that possible? How did you eat all those things? How did you make public transit work? Where was your Uber's at? Like, but I felt myself in season 2 more, like you said, appreciative of the slow moments. I found myself so grateful that we got time with Sydney a day through the city of Chicago, sort of relaxed. Going into season 3, I am very excited, one, to see more Molly Gordon as Claire.
Yes.
After watching her in theater camp, I just want more and more Molly Gordon on my TV. But I'm also excited to see the guest stars that they bring in, because I think what hit me hardest in season 2 was I did not expect to see Robert Townsend pop in as her father, Sydney's father. That completely took me out. The seconds we got of Olivia Colman.
Oh my God. Yes.
I was like, oh my God.
What are we doing here? Yeah. Well, and I think those are the pieces that did feel very Chicago, right? Is like they're actually centering in on some very specific, really interesting like cultural niches that do exist here that are so much more interesting than like, how on earth were you just like on the expressway, but now all of a sudden you're, you know, on the south side or whatever. It's like, no, that math doesn't work. But like, I don't want to think about that. I want to think about like, oh yeah, the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Of course, this is what's going to happen at this dinner, you know?
Like Bob Odenkirk, the scene, the tension, just to have Jamie Lee Curtis drive a car through the door. I left season 2 with tears in my eyes watching her walk away from the front door of the restaurant and wanting to see more of her.
I can't tell you how many episodes at the end just made me cry, and not because they were devastating, but just because it was like, oh my God, what a beautifully told story that just like feels good to participate in, you know?
I think my biggest worry of the show is, I think about Chicago's restaurant scene. An Italian beef restaurant feels like such an accessible place. Now it being set in a, sort of fancier upscale restaurant where the people who are coming in don't necessarily feel of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all of how that changes the show a little bit? Or do you think we just get more time with our characters and our setting becomes less important?
I think it will be doing the show a favor if they can focus more on characters than on setting. Because I think that was part of our issue with season 1 too, right? Is like, even the beef place, it's like, what is this? Why is this in River North? Like, what's actually happening? Who's coming here? Like,
what is family meals?
Right. Like, if we stop thinking about that, like, the show ends up being a lot better. I have a question for you about, a lot of people are trying to ship Carmy and Sydney. I'm curious what your take is on that. You're shaking your head. How do you feel about it?
No, I'm not with it. I'm not with it.
Same.
I think a professional intimacy,
yes,
where they are both equally obsessed with the art of cooking, of creating a dining experience for people. They have different ways of getting to it, but that is not something that ends in romantic love or exploring a romantic relationship between them. I think their shared love for the potential of this restaurant, the potential of their menu, and the fact that we get physical closeness between them and emotional closeness between them, I think just forces us to reevaluate what friendship looks like, especially in a professional setting, because they work together and there's a power dynamic there. I think we're going to learn what that how we explore that, because I've been in a lot of restaurants where the culture still is, we are a family, that there's a shared goal here. And so to see them navigate that professionally and personally, I think is more interesting to me.
Same. Yeah, I think especially the professional element of it, because I think we are seeing more and more pieces of, like TV shows and movies that are kind of focusing on just the importance of friendship. But we haven't actually seen, I still think about, like, most workplace comedies or whatever involve some sort of will they or won't they between coworkers, right?
Yes.
And I would really love it if this one was just like, nope, that is off the table. But to your point, like, that doesn't mean there isn't intimacy and vulnerability and deep trust and respect. And I think that's actually really exciting to see on a screen. And I hope they don't give into that. I think that's also just the potential pitfall of making a really critically acclaimed show, right? Is like,
agreed.
Season 1 went well. Season 2 went very well. We all have very high expectations at this point. Can they meet them is also just like a question that I don't know.
I will say though, Sydney and Marcus.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. That sounds great.
I'm going to contradict myself a little bit.
Well, but that's different.
So I am going to contradict myself, because Sydney and Marcus, I do. But again, even there, if they just focus on them being friends, I'm cool with that.
It feels different enough that I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I'd love to see, and not from a let Sydney be his therapist or anything like that, because Carmy clearly need to go deal with his things. But I'd love to see her sort of trying to help him navigate his relationship with Claire.
Yes.
Mostly because I want to see Molly and Io in the same scenes together.
Yes, they're so sweet.
But yeah, the character I'm excited to learn more about this season and follow a little bit more, and I'm hearing we're going to see more episodes, is Tina. I'm hearing we're going to see a little bit more about who Tina is and her background. I
have to say too, I can't remember his name, but like our super douchey dude face bro guy and his journey through
Richie.
I like had zero tolerance for that guy. And the way like they treated his storyline, I thought was so beautiful. Like that's another one that I was just like, I did not expect to come to like, just to see the journey he went on and his own self-respect and appreciation was just like, oh my God, this is gorgeous.
I think as we wrap, we kind of hinted at it early on. I feel like if we're thinking about why Chicago loves this show, I think it's one of those shows that in some ways has earned that love because people wanted to hate it.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think people wanted to just kind of kill it, point out all the things it was doing wrong.
Yeah.
So I think going into season 3, it's an accomplishment that people are more excited for it. Again, it's not just, I don't think it was ever just ours. It definitely doesn't just feel like it's Chicago's at this point, but I am excited to see how they go into this season, continuing to represent the city. You know, does that take us further away from River North? Do we see more of the west side of Chicago, the south side of Chicago? There's some things to grow here. So I'm interested to see if we can incorporate some of that.
Yeah, I mean, the fact alone that it's filmed here is pretty exciting. You know, I think about something like ER or The Good Wife, which is like, no, y'all got B-roll. You're obviously in LA. You don't know how to pronounce whatever street name downtown. You know, like, I do feel like these guys are doing the work in a way that is exciting to see.
All right, so if we're not outside enjoying a film festival or arts festival, and if we're not inside binging, maybe we're catching up on our books. You've probably read at least 3 or 4 since we last talked book recommendations. So speaking of the Bear, Greta, you've got one rec you want to put us on that's kind of related. What is it?
Yeah, so it's called Bear. I think it's so funny that these two things came out in the same week. They could not be more different. But like, I do wonder if like the fact that Julia Phillips wrote a book called Bear that came out on Tuesday, and The Bear, which is very critically acclaimed, is coming out on like, I do wonder how much there is sort of a like, oh, great. Like, yeah, Google a bear and like buy that book, do it. Again, they could not be more different. But it's a beautiful book. It takes place on a super rural island off of the coast of Washington State.
Okay.
And a bear shows up. And there are 2 sisters who are like deeply on the margins of society in terms of like just scraping by, you know, trying to make things work. They're taking care of their sick mom. And this bear shows up, and the 2 sisters react to the bear really differently. And the tension just keeps ratcheting up throughout the book. And I think this is a book about like systemic disappointments and expectations and ambition and, you know, that really powerful feeling that I think a lot of us have that's like, I need to get the hell out of here, but I have no idea how I actually can figure out how to do that. And so, yeah, I just thought it was gorgeous. And happy Bear Week to everybody, I guess.
Happy Bear Week to everybody. I don't know if my book recommendation is a summer beach read, but it is hilarious. It is hilarious. And it's called Circle Back, Follow Up, Close the Loop. And it's written by Erin Thrillopoulos. If people are not familiar with Erin Thrillopoulos, her other name is Corporate Erin. She has a very large social media presence. And when she announced this book a few months ago, I had no idea what it was about. And I still paid my money to get it. And now that
you're holding a copy right now.
Right. And now that a signed copy.
Oh, nice.
But ultimately what it is it's a corporate dictionary for all of the corporate jargon that is thrown at us. This sort of breaks down using the Dion method, where it takes a phrase and gives you the definition, an example, a little bit on its origin, and some accompanying notes. So I'm going to do a quick scroll stop. Deep dive. Definition: a thorough and comprehensive examination or analysis of a specific topic, project, or issue. Origin: the term deep dive originated from the world of diving, where it refers to a prolonged dive underwater to explore submerged areas or conduct research. And then she gives you an example and gives you notes. And so this really helps people who may be in a new job, transitioning from positions, or are in a workplace in which people, you know, they choose to use overcomplicated language and make the workplace such a hassle to navigate. And this is here to help you do that. You can also read the forwards from Corporate Erin and Lisa Beasley, which gives you a little of their story and how this project came to be. But shout out to Erin, shout out to Lisa and her entire team for bringing this book to us. We're adding it to our summer read list. Circle Back, Follow Up, Close the Loop if you want to grow your corporate lexicon.
That is a really interesting one.
Get your ducks in a row.
Get your ducks in a row. I mean, it is fascinating to think about like how much of that language can be used. I mean, it's another tool of the oppressor, right? In terms of like keeping certain people out of the conversation.
I didn't think we were going to go there, but yes, 100%. 100%.
What else is in there? What else are you looking at?
Let's see. Dumpster fire.
Ooh.
Definition: a chaotic, messy disaster with the distinct smell of burnt dreams. We'll drop links to both of these books in the show notes. Please let us know as you are binging through House of the Dragon and The Bear your thoughts at 773-780-0246. And let us know what you're doing this weekend. You know what we're going to be doing? Recovering from our dental appointments, binging a little Bear, reading a little Lisa B, and maybe getting outside for this Sundance. Greta Johnsen, thank you so much for making time for CityCast Chicago today.
Thank you, Jacoby. It is my pleasure to be here.
Before we get out of here, stay tapped in to all CityCast has to offer by bookmarking our website, chicago.citycast.fm. And while you're there, subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago. Of course, I got some good news for you. Tonight from 5 to 7 p.m., the homies over at the Silver Room at Hyde Park are hosting a karaoke open mic, Chicago Music Legends Edition. Speaking of open mics, I want to know your favorite Chicago one. It could be stand-up, poetry, storytelling, music, it don't matter. Let us know now at 773-780-0246. Leave us a text or a voicemail, and you could hear yourself on the podcast. We're going to talk to y'all soon. Peace. All right, cool. Let's get some vibes. Certified lover boy, certified friend of mine. Boom. I honestly, right before the beat drop, I was like, I actually think I could fit this in there and it will work. Today on
I'm so happy for you, Jacoby. Sorry.
It's all good.